the top performers from round number 21. Great to see so many different badges on the screen for that. Let's get into the action. Starting off with a little game that took place on Friday night between Castleford Tigers and Huddersfield Giants. Joel, bask in the glory, my friend. Some lovely rugby league. Sam Halsall on fire.
It's his first hat-trick, I believe, ever in a professional career. So it's really good. I was quite gutted earlier in the season that we didn't have him playing regular first team. I kept saying why we're playing him, but it clearly shows that his training and dedication and hard work has paid off, and he's playing some good rugby. It's nice to see Leroy getting his try again.
Is he 21, Sam?
I think he's about that. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah. I think he's early 20s, though, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a big future, hasn't he? Chris McQueen going in again?
Yeah, I would love to say I'd like to see him stay next year, but I don't see it happening, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a lot of rumours coming out he's retiring, is that right? Potentially?
Yes, that is certainly a strong rumour, yeah. That's for certain.
Yeah. Shame, but I have to say he's he's really been solid, hasn't he, these last few years? He's been very good to watch, Chris McQueen. It'll be a big loss for you, mate.
Massive, because I remember when he first came over, he was, I believe, maybe Greg or Freddie can correct me if I'm wrong, he came for 3 weeks, I believe, or 3 months as a trial. And if he played well, he'd secure a contract. And it happened to be one of our best signings we've had in the last decade, I think.
Well, mate, that's a big accolade there to say one of your best in the last decade. But no, I mean, as a neutral, somebody who doesn't support Huddersfield, I've really enjoyed watching Chris McQueen. See that Essen Masters got himself back in the side. Obviously, from the outside looking, real head scratcher. He was brilliant at the start of the season, had quite a few games out, and then all of a sudden now he's back in. What's your take on his first season, Masters? He's been a bit of a mixed bag, hasn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't look too much at that. I think he's just been struggling to, because people forget he's quite young. So he's been so used to playing NRL rugby, he needs to spend some time just learning the English game now. I always had high hopes when he came over, because obviously I watched NRL myself, and I saw how good he was when he played the odd game. He played for West Tigers. I believe it was his last club he played for. And he was a good, promising player. He's got a good kicking boot as well. He's not had a chance to show that off yet. But I think in the next year or two, he's going to take a couple of years to get into the full swing. But once he does, we're going to see a Ricky Latelli again, I think, probably.
Oh, that's another big shout. In terms of what was his contract, mate?
I think it was either 2 or 3 years. I think it's 2 years. 2
or 3.
Yeah.
They are, mate. Steph's got him by his proper name there for a minute. That's a new one on me. But his ears pricked up then when you said Latelli. You've been the feeder club to lead at the moment.
I think what is good to see is, if you look at the clubs that have been in a bit of turmoil, you would have put Huddersfield in that category. And you're absolutely right to point out that the Catalan game has been the turning point for Huddersfield this season. And they have turned it around. And the brilliant thing to see is whatever Watson's done, he's managed to get Connor and Leotelli, not Leotelli, who's the fullback? No. Lohaya, yeah. And you got those two playing again now. They were the two key players for Huddersfield. And in this game, they seemed to link up really well. They both played really well. And I think that's great to see from Huddersfield's perspective. And it's good to see them maybe making a push for the playoffs now.
Yeah, I think it's having Connor and Tui in the halves has been a bit of a blessing in disguise, because you'd never think you'd have two Maverick players playing in the halves. You'd kind of want one structure and one not. But obviously Connor's kind of taking back the fullback role now, hopefully. More of a full-time position, because for me now, whether Teo Farge is in or out, Ollie Russell's doing a cracking job.
Yeah, well, Farge is off. Farge is off, isn't he? He's off the Catalan, isn't he? So
he's pretty much as good as gone. But I think Ollie Russell was always going to be one of our spine players anyway. As is, I think the idea is to get Kieran Rush eventually. as one of our starting spine players. But he's just still really young. He needs a lot more game time in him.
Freddie's getting Savelio next season on the chat.
Yeah, Andre.
Is that rumoured or confirmed?
I don't believe it's confirmed, but it's pretty much definitely happening. There are a couple of others that I've heard about, but I won't say that yet because I don't know how many people know about that. So I'll keep it on for now.
Fair play, mate. But yeah, we know about Swifty as well. And I think, we've seen again this week, Swift. I mean, Swift, the last 4 or 5 weeks has been, what a player. I mean, you saw that firsthand when you played him, another good try there. Good signing that. I really like Adam Swift. He'll do you good. Right, the Goldthorpe medal places, no real upset with these ones. 3 for the man that is Leroy Cudjoe. Another fine game in second row for Leroy. 2 for the hat-trick man, Sam Halsall, and 1 for Mr. Bibby in this one. Right, we move on to the next game. Thanks for that, Joel. Appreciate it. And it's Wigan against Hull. You can only be what's in front of you, so let's just bask in the glory of some exceptional tries. But here we go. Let's throw the grenade in. This is probably a massive game, both in terms of potentially the League Leaders' Shield, but also relegation. Not relegation, sorry, playoff places. Unbelievable, really. The damage this has done. Not only is it 2 points gone for KR, but it's really tightened up the points for and against in that middle quadrant, KR there. And of course, Wigan, to claw back the amount of points they have on. I mean, Catalan were away with the Fairies in terms of points difference, but all of a sudden this game has lit that. Wigan, over to you, Steph. Wigan the most likely of you and Lee to maybe challenge Catalan for the Shield?
Well, I think a lot of Lee fans need to put their fingers in their ears with what I'm about to say here.
Go for it,
for me, I think with the teams that we've played, Wigan have been the most impressive team I've seen this season. And I know you can only beat what is in front of you in this game, but some of the tries in this are just unbelievable. Like literally the highest quality. Bevan French looks like an absolute, the world beater that he is, and he really showed in this game. But he also did it to us in the game previously, and I was at that game live, and I can remember just thinking, geez, these two guys click. They are Finch and Bevan French are just unbelievable players, and they're the most dangerous team in Super League for me at the moment.
No, I agree. I mean, obviously, a lot of us, I tipped Wigan for the Shield at the start of the season before ball had been kicked. Once they bought Wardle and King, I just felt the 3-quarter line looked devastatingly well. And at the time, we thought French was going to be playing on the wing. And of course, what that's allowed Miskey. And Miskey, 24 tries in 24 appearances now for Wigan. He has been in the top 10 try scorers now in Super League this year. Incredible, Abbas Miskey. You can have nothing but praise for him. What's your thoughts on Wigan, Joe?
I think you're never going to beat a team consistently when they've got at least. So you look at these highlights, for example, and I've seen this with Wigan this year, and it happens with Lee. Every time they score, or even don't score, but they get close to the line, they've always got 4 people with them in support. You tell me a team that's ever going to stop that?
No. On the pace as well. It's the pace as well. Isn't it?
So a consistent basis of that kind of dangerous attack.
Look at this. Beautiful.
You see what I mean? Look how many people are supporting him there, and he's always going to go over that line. So yeah, you're always going to.
The speed of those players, if you like, some of his turn of pace is just like obscene. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
they've got. They're all that though, aren't they? I mean, you think of turn of pace, French, Field, Miskey. Toby King isn't a slouch. They just have, and yeah. I mean, dear me, wow.
Well, even Harry Smith's got a bit of some legs on him as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, incredible. Like I say, you can only beat what's in front of you. Yeah, and cheers for that. It's John Wilkinson in the chat. Something that we didn't mention earlier in the show. A lot of rumours, how true these are, that Catalan are sniffing around Jay Field for next season.
Really?
A lot of rumours, yeah, they have been gathering pace. I've heard the same that Catalan are in for Field about salary cap space. How true or false that is, I don't know, but there's no doubt about it. Catalan are going to have a load of cap space because, again, like Leeds, they're losing a lot of players at the end of this season.
Well, they may have some space on the quota.
Maybe. Here's what. Right, let's just look. This is. I mean, Bevan French, just behave yourself is all I'm going to say here. Just behave yourself. You talk about we love it. How did he just do that? This is audacious. Remind me a little bit of Will Price at Salford earlier in the season, Joel. I'll throw that one in. But look at this here. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I mean, anybody who's a rugby league fan, you watch that and you just purr. I mean, if you're a Wigan fan, it's wonderful to see. But yeah, what a try! What a try!
Playing with confidence, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, Pricey did the same, didn't he, at Salford early in the season? But a bit further back, but yeah, really. But look at the speed, lads. Look at the speed of the hands. I mean, I'll just keep it running until we see the Smith try again, because that's worth seeing again. Whilst we're waiting for that one to come up, no surprises where the goal fork's concerned. 3 for Jai Field with his hat trick, 2 for Bevan French, who ran the show superbly well, and 1 for Jake Wardle. Wardle came out for lots of praise. Matt Peake came out after the game, and he was really glowing about Wardle's performance. Probably one of his better ones since signing for the Wigan Warriors. But yeah, I mean, they just had no answer to this. It was just like the Alamo, wasn't it? It just kept coming and coming. One thing about the Tide, the waves coming. And my Lord, was there a Tide at Wigan on Friday night?
They've got those X Factor players. It's just as simple as that. And if the rest of the team goes with them, then I'm sorry, but they're the best team in the comp for me. The problem is for Wigan is when the other ones don't back them up. And for the past few weeks, they've come.
Here it is, isn't it? Here it is. Look at this. Look at the hands here. From now, this here, the deft touch of Field. Look at it. Round the back. Look at that. That's wonderful. That's wonderful from Field. And he don't even get the credit of an assist for that. But Field absolutely outstanding. And I've said it. If you look at the stats, I'm into the stats. If you look at the stats, a lot of the strike of Wigan comes through the hands of Field and French. They have to keep them fit. If either of those go out, that's a hammer blow, the same way that Saints losing the pack. If either of those two players go out, that's going to have a massive detrimental effect on the Wigan team going into the playoffs.
100%.
Well, what would happen if Field does go to Catalan? Do they even need him?
Well, I mean, they're fortunate in that respect, aren't they? Because they could always put Frenchie back to full back and bring in a recognised halfback. They could do that. One thing's for certain, Field's going to have a decent salary there at Wigan, isn't he? So, maybe with and maybe this has come about because of the Dupree signing. Maybe suddenly the cap is a bit tighter and they need to relieve. I mean, let's be fair. When they re-signed these two at the end of last season, I think all of us were like, because they must. A lot of their cap spend must be tied up in Bevan French and Field. Must be, has to be.
Well, so X Factor players demand X Factor salaries. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, Freddie McGilvery's saying that the Savelio deal has been mentioned in the Hull Mail, a 2-year deal confirmed. So Freddie's saying that the Savelio 1-2, the Huddersfield Giants pretty straight there. Right, we now come to Warrington against Catalan. Warrington needed to show something in this one, and for patches they did, probably the first 10 minutes of each half. I mean, that there from Matautia just isn't good enough. I mean, again, it's the right edge of Warrington Wolves. It's, no surprise to me on the night that's where the first try came from. The one from Mitchell Pearce, lovely team try. We've seen it in the tries of the week. Lovely stuff. And I thought the Ben Covey try was well taken. There's a couple of things. I mean, look, very seldom do I go big on referees. Very seldom. There's going to be a couple of decisions tonight where I'm going to have a little dig. Second half, first 5 minutes, Warrington were in the groove. It was 18-6, if memory serves me right. They were camped on Catalan's goal line. They looked dangerous at that point. Joe Philbin gets tackled. And even Sky are saying it's 6 again to Warrington. Yeah. Not given by the referee. Philbin stands up and he gives a knock on. Now that for me, at that point, it was game over. I think Warrington could have probably have scored. Had it gone to 18-12, could have been interesting. This is the league leaders. I had no doubt in my mind that Catalan will come away. I backed Catalan 1-8. I thought Catalan would win this game. But I do think that there's times where, as supporters, we scratch our heads in terms of the inconsistencies around decision. And the holding down of Joe Philbin at the start of the second half was quite simply shocking. But no arguments from me as a Warrington fan. Catalan fully deserving of the win, that decision or not. And for me, at the moment, a Catalan/Wigan final would be I know you'll have a say in that, Steph, but at the moment that could be the way the final goes. The only real positive for Warrington, Thomas Michaela, only 48 hours off a plane, and he had some proper carries and he looked the part again. And I think that could just about give Warrington a very large, and I mean a large outside chance of doing something. But yeah, that's my take as the Warrington fan. What were your thoughts, boys? Did you watch this one?
Yeah, I mean, my initial thoughts, and I did watch this game live, and I know you're playing Catalan, so there's no away support, but I was amazed how quiet it was. And I think from a fan's perspective, obviously, Warrington fans have been through a lot in the past few weeks, and you can totally understand that. And obviously, it didn't help with Catalan going 18-0 up, I think it was it?
That's right, yeah.
So I think that kind of, I actually thought Warrington was going to react to the Powell sacking, and I was a bit surprised that they didn't. But I was also really surprised about the crowd not getting behind it. But it's very easy to say that when you're playing a team of quality of Catalan that just came and scored 3 brilliant tries to start with. I think they just killed the game straight away.
Yeah, I mean, look, as a Warrington supporter, you know, that's Warrington. You know, I mean, it's almost, you can feel it being sucked out. They are, you know, I mean, I sit around people, and at times, even when you're winning the moaning, it's just like, what's going on here? You know, it's like a vacuum. It just gets sucked out gets sucked out of the ground. And you know, this is where you've got to shout even louder when your team are behind. You do, and yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think Warrington now, they have this week off. Obviously, Chambers has this week with the team. It was only a couple of days turnaround from Powell going in that game. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next game. Of course, the next game that we play is Leeds. We've already spoke about where Leeds are at the moment, so that's going to be interesting.
What's your running like, Dave? What's Warrington's running like?
So yeah, I mean, it's a bit packed. I mean, do I think that Warrington will pick up enough points to be in the playoffs? I do. Next up is Leeds. Then it's FC away. I mean, you know, you can say Warrington and FC toss a coin.
Yeah,
who turns up, because both teams at times, if they turn up, they've got a chance. It could be a walloping either way. Then it's Castleford at home, which I think they win. I think they win that. Then they go to Salford away. I'd fancy us for that, if I'm being honest. Then it's Saints at home. Won't be easy, but I've got to be careful when I say this, because they had the advantage of the pack when we went to their place. But I think that the pack will play a part in that at the time, before Saints have got out. And then we play Huddersfield last game of the season at the John Smith. So I think, I wouldn't like to say which ones. The only one that I would expect as a Warrington fan right now to win is Castleford. You have to win that. You can't not win that. And by that time, Chambers, it's Chambers' third game from now. So I think by the time we play Castleford, you'd hope that the morale and the confidence in the camp gets you a win there. So there's one win. And I think really they need 3. They need 3 wins between now and the end of the season. They're in the playoffs, and playoff rugby league is playoff rugby league, isn't it?
With the players you've got, it's 100% doable. It is.
It is doable.
And I think this is the beauty of this season, is you've got the fight at the top, you've got the fight for the playoff places, and you've got the fight for the relegation. You've got every single, if you're going to tick from a tick box exercise in terms of what you want from an excitement perspective, you've got every single scenario. So I think it's going to be a fantastic end to the season.
mate. It will be fascinating as a Warrington fan. It really will. Obviously, for myself, could be a shootout between us and you, Joel. Last game of the season for top 6.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we're not trying to compete with you guys because I think this Catalan game came at a wrong time for you. I don't know if you noticed this when you was there, but when I was watching it, the first thing I noticed was Warrington looked very tired. Especially Matautia, he looked shattered. He was done.
Mate, honestly, you win together, you lose together, and you do. There's more wrong with Warrington than Pete Matautia. But let me tell you now, the man is a revolving door in defence.
Oh,
he really is, and we all see it, and it's probably a confidence issue. It's probably a confidence issue. I mean, it's like that there. I mean, look at this here. Look at Matautia here. Now, this is the Whitley try. But what's Peter Matautia doing here? I mean, look at that. He gets sent off for that. If that's not a try, he's going for 10. Every decision he's making in defensive transitions at the minute. You saw the first try with Kieran. He jumps for the ball. He had no intention of catching it. It was the worst jump in the. Honestly, he overjumped it. Everything about his defensive game at the moment, Pete Matautia. I would be amazed if he runs out at Headingley. I think Conor Wrench will start in centre with Fulis outside. I really do.
I think people forget with Matautia that we actually brought him over, so you got us to thank for that at the moment. But we played him as a fullback. I don't even remember him getting sent off against Leeds in the Challenge Cup when he spear tackled one of the Leeds players.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But the Leeds fans didn't want him to go when he went to Castleford. We wanted him to stay because he was absolutely outstanding for us. So it's a bit sad to see him playing as poorly as he is at the moment. And we had so much respect for him. We didn't want him to go, and he's a bit like Asiata, very much that type of person, a very really good bloke. But it's sad to see him playing not very well, especially defensively at the moment for Warrington. It's just not working for him, I don't think.
That's true. No. But on the flip side to all that as well, I think for you, Dave, you've got a good run of games coming up because you've got rest, which is what you need. The likes of the announcement about Sam Burgess signing, and then now you've got McKaylee back. I think Cass, like you said, that they're not going to compete with you. Salford aren't competing like they were last year. That's probably another win, and I think the Saints game, their pack isn't going to be able to match up with you if it carries on like it is.
Yeah. No, well, exactly. I think there's a lot there, and I think the thing for me where Warrington are concerned, with the exception of St Helens, our running, we are playing teams. Every one of them is underneath us in the league table.
Exactly.
So if we don't make the playoffs, we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
We with the exception of Saints, we're playing teams below us. Which, when you look at other people's runnings, not many teams can say that. Warrington have got a very favourable running where the league sits at this moment in time. And that's why there's no excuses, even though Burgess isn't starting until next year. McKaylee's back. This is the same team that went 8 from 8. We had no Maguire in those first games of the season. We had no Maguire. We lost McKaylee before the Catalan game 8. So there can be no excuses. The same team that went 8 from 8 is now back at Warrington with McKaylee re-signing. And luckily, McKaylee's kept himself fit, which is fantastic. When I saw him, I was like, happy days. He looks as lean and as mean as he did at the start of the season. Albert Goldthorpe, 3 for Garcia, 2 for Whitley, 1 for Ikavalu. Right, let's move on. Oh yeah, I did get asked in the. I'll just pause this a second. I did get asked over Stefan Ratchford coming back out with that head knock. You would hope and pray, and this goes for all teams. We have HIA protocols for a reason. He went off. He got assessed. This isn't just about Warrington. This is about the integrity of the league and the HIA protocols. I would be very disappointed if they, especially with what we've announced tonight, where Gill's concerned, Rob and all the rest of it. No club should turn a blind eye to HIA. So do I think Ratchford passed his HIA? Absolutely. For the integrity of the game, for everything. It has to be that way. I can't doubt that for 1 minute. Could it be that he had a delayed reaction? I'm not a medical professional, but yeah, he could have got blurred vision. He could have been whatever. He could have got a really bad headache that's caused him issues. I don't know. But I would hope, John, I think it was John who asked me that question. I would hope for the integrity of the sport and the game that, yeah, there's no funniosities going on around HIAs. I think
it's a doctor's decision, isn't it? In terms
exactly,
of,
an independent.
Yeah. And not to make light of it. I thought it was on about me for a minute. From last
night. No, mate. No, not at all. Right, let's get into this one. And of course, sure, Ian's delighted. Again, very much like the Wigan game, this is lovely from Clifford. I've been very critical of Clifford of late. He was bang at it, though, in this one. Look at that again. Swifty on the shoulder. Beautiful stuff. This, like Wigan, very easy on the eye tries. You'll be seeing that next year at the John Smiths, Mr. Swift. What do we make of Hull? I mean, Hull, great run of form, 4 from 6. Like Huddersfield, these two are making a late dash for the playoffs. If it's going to happen, I think it's going to be one of these two that slide in. Your thoughts on Hull, boys?
They are, but after seeing Hull recently ourselves within the last week or two, I was quite surprised at this scoreline. I was thinking that Waking might have done a little something on that game, but they obviously didn't. Hull have just, over the past few years, we're talking about them just winning, losing. But they've now started to get a few string of wins together.
Yeah.
So with Hull, you really just don't know now. Because, 1 minute they can turn up and be good for a few weeks and then get blown away by a team that's struggling.
Well, Joel, you talk about runnings. We talked about runnings with Warrington. This is the running that Hull FC have got, and I think that this could be problematic for them, if I'm being honest. Next up for them, they go away to Wigan. They then have Warrington at home. That's followed by Leeds at home, Castleford away, then you at home, Huddersfield, and then it's Saints last game of the season away. So that is a real tough running. They're playing teams with the exception of Castleford and yourself, but yours and theirs will be a right good arm wrestle. I think by the time we get to that second to last game, I think one of you will still be in contention, if not both. But that's a tough running for Hull FC.
Yeah, that's. I think that's probably one of the worst ones of the whole league, probably. But hey, how about this? What if they come out of it on top and they're in there?
Well, all credit to them. I wouldn't have thought it earlier. In the, you say it goes back, 6-7 weeks, maybe a couple of months. I wouldn't have saw Hull anywhere near it. And then when they announced that Clifford was off, even more so, I'd have put them even further out of contention. But they've got a great coach. Tony Smith, no matter where he's been, he's galvanised. We saw it at Warrington, we saw it at Leeds, we've seen it at Hull KR with the rebrand. He's now gone to Hull. It was always going to take him time. He'll be judged more on next year than this. Great coach, knows how to prepare for a game. I mean, they've got an outside chance, mate.
True, and I think as well, seeing this is a bit of the bias coming out of me here, but it's good to see McIntosh getting some form in again, because earlier in the season he was a bit quiet, I think, for Hull, but he's found his confidence again. And if you look at this game here, it was in or thereabouts most of the players.
And there's that kick, Steph. It was a beaut, that. It was a beaut.
Absolutely beautiful. And I think Litton had a good game in this one as well. He's a great player. And I think me tagging Clifford into Super League Raw Facebook page has done the trick in terms of his performances.
Well, take the glory, mate. But yeah, you're right about Litton. I mean, I remember giving Litton bags of grief earlier in the campaign when they lost. I'm trying to remember.
It was against us.
Was it you?
They celebrated.
I went ballistic at that. I know it was his first try for the club, but dear me. But actually, since that day, I've been nothing but impressed with him. And I think since he's gone to when he went to fullback when Hoy was injured, certain things just happen. Fate plays a hand. And I think that Hoy going out and letting go into fullback brought his game on tenfold. He's brought his confidence on tenfold. Exciting player. It's going to be interesting next year, but probably more 2025, how revered he's going to be in the game, because you see shades of you know, the likes of the Wellesbys, you know, these players that come along once in a generation.
I think it's Tompkins last, yeah, very much.
Yeah, so, exactly. You know, so for me personally, it'd be interesting come 2025 where Jez Litton is at, without doubt. Incredible performance. So very easy on the eye tries. In terms of where the Goldthorpe medal went, 3 for Clifford, 2 for Houghton, 1 for Litton. Wakey, I back Wakey. I think this is a big blow for them. They went into it off the bottom. I did in the sheds today. I just need to remind myself what the swing was. I think they started this game with a 16-point plus over Castleford in terms of points difference to for and against. By the end of the game, they were 20 minus 22 behind and back on the bottom. The way Wakey have been playing, of course, 42. I mean, what does it say about Warrington? They beat Warrington 42-6 the week before. But yeah, you look at it, and again, it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you look at Leeds, they won Leeds 24-14. They then went and lost to KR 28-12, so a reversal almost of the scoreline. Then they went to Salford and won 32-6. Solid win, that one. Obviously, the Wigan game by that point, 27-26. Then they went to Huddersfield, and, you know, Joel texted me at the time saying, dear God, you know, they just battered them, you know, 34-6. They then go and beat us 42-6, and then they lose 42-4. It's spring and summer, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the only one that deserved credit in this game from Wakefield was Innes Senior, who scored 4 last week, was it?
4 last and backed up.
Yeah, I thought he played really well, but I backed him last week. I thought Wakefield were going to go to Hull and put a performance in, so I was really disappointed to see that scoreline. But I also wouldn't want to. I don't want to take anything away from Hull, because I think Hull were. If you look at the tries in this game, I think they were outstanding. Hull, and they're a potent team, and these are another one that you know they're pushing. They're all. There's a few clubs all around that middle area who all, you know. What a story it would be if Hull FC got in instead of Hull KR. You know, that could happen. You know,
well, it could. Good. I said that on in the sheds, mate, and. You know, six Hull FC players got over 100 metres in that game. And if you actually, you know, have a look after the show, go and have a look at the starting lineups for this one. The size advantage was all Wakefield.
Yeah.
You know, Wakefield, the size advantage was hugely in their favour. And believe it or not, the entire front row of Wakey, and I include the subs in this, right, versus the starting pack of Hull. The starting pack of Hull over all of those players, about 5, maybe 6 players versus the 5, maybe more. They did 35 meters more Hull, even though they loaded the pack. So just never got a foothold in the game, mate. But you're right. I said that on In the Sheds. What would Hull give for you beating KR in Wembley and then snatching 6?
This is why this season it's got everything. It's got there's so many stories. It's it's got everything for the. We're on the verge of a TV deal, and I know that's another thing. But if this was a broadcaster looking at it, it's got every single story you can imagine. Every single story you can imagine.
Yeah, you're spot on. And I think the playoffs. If the playoffs aren't the best viewing figures ever this year, then something's wrong, because every single one of them. Good luck calling it. Because I don't. With the exception of. I think with maybe a few exceptions, I think whatever the draw, I think probably there'll have been wins and losses in most throughout the season where the teams have been involved. It's going to be fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Right, we move on. Let's get to the next one. And this one is Salford Saints, guys. I did say I was going to have a moment. Before I do. Let's just bask in some really good Salford tries. Great start for Salford. Brodie Croft at it again.
Yeah, well, I said in terms of the my favourite tries, you know, he's Brodie Croft. He's up there again with these ones who are box office players in Super League, and you know he proved it in this game again. You know, I think, like I say, was it 2 assists he got in this one?
Yeah. Here comes the second.
Yeah, absolute class, Brodie Croft. Great player.
Yeah, absolutely. Salford on fire. You know, they'll be disappointed, I think, to have lost this, 15-2 up at half time. Mark Sneed in a moment dropping a goal just before half time. Right. I'm going to have a little rant and then you can come in, Joel. I couldn't believe what I was watching here. Could not believe what I was watching here. We're about to see Ritson in a moment. Oh, did they not show it on these ones? Oh, no. Right. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do because we're watching it. We're watching it. Here's one I prepared earlier. So let's just stop that a minute because we're watching this.
Number 2, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, no, we're watching this. So let me just try my best here to get... Well, I'm actually going to do this. Let's bring that off share for a second. Right, because we're going to watch it. We are watching it. So luckily, I've got the Salford highlights as well because they put extended on there. He says...
They zoomed in on the touchline. For this one.
No, they haven't. They didn't. But at least they show it again. Call me cynical, Rugby Football League. How does this not get in the highlight reel? I'll just leave that there. Right, let me just turn that down. Right, here we go. We can have a look at it now. So we'll use the Salford highlights. Let's just get us back on. Hey, it's good job, I think, Ed. Here we go. Right, so on the fly, here we go. Right, so here we go. So here it comes. So here comes T. Ritson, ladies and gentlemen, about to set off down the left-hand side. Okay, you'll see him in a minute. Here he comes. Brodie Croft puts T. Ritson's foot in touch. Watch this. Look where the linesman is. Here comes the foot in a minute. There you go. See it? Yeah. The linesman does absolutely nothing. So there it is. Here it comes. Brodie Croft there, he's putting his foot on the line. Look at the linesman. Wait, the linesman...
His other foot's in touch. His other foot's in touch as well.
His other foot's on the line as well. The linesman has 2 choices. 1, it's a turnover. 2, tackle complete, penalty to St. Helens. What he does, I don't care what anybody says, and no wonder the Rugby Football League didn't show this, because I'm going to play this now and you'll see what the consequences of this decision was for this game. Absolutely unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. Well done, Saints. Not your fault. You played to the whistle. No issue with that. But this is about officiating, right? Absolutely. He ignores it. It's the one thing you can't do. Croft can't believe it. Here we go. Over to the right-hand side comes Saints. And on the very next play of the ball after this one, Dion Cross is sent for 10. A direct consequence of a touch judge not doing what they should do. He was right on it. Here it comes. No argument. No arguments with the 10. No argument with the 10. It's the right decision. Yeah. He should never have got to that point. On the very next set of 6 comes one of the most bonkers tries you're ever likely to see. 3 minutes. This is the start of the second half. 3 minutes. We've seen Ritson put in touch, ignored, which has led to Dion Cross being given 10. And in the very next set, how on earth is this a try? Here comes the knock on. Here it comes. Here it is. Knock on. Play on. Try.
Yeah.
What on earth? What on earth is going on? Now, I know that Kendall's refereeing the Challenge Cup finals, but is Jack Smith a part of the committee? Is he going as well?
Well, this is
because
that knock on there
should be shut down.
That knock on there happened to us when we played Hull, and Hull scored on the back of that, and everyone in the crowd was shouting, "Why have they not called that?" And then the T. Ritson one, where he's like Steph said, both his feet were on line. Somebody at the game said to me last week, they said, "What a linesman actually getting paid for?" Because you could see on there, there's not one point did his face move away, his eyes, it were right under him, under his nose. How could he not see that?
Joe, mate.
I think the problem here with Salford is they've been on the back end of some tough calls for a number of weeks now, and it's not like Salford are losing games by 20 points. They're always in it. They've always been close games. So that magnifies these decisions even more so. And I can see, not that I condone it, but I can see where Rowley's frustrations come out. And at
Spot on.
the end of the day, Paul Rowley's job's on the line, in terms of they're on a 7-game losing streak now. And you could argue that, some of those games they potentially could have won for the decision of a referee. A 10-minute sin bin in a game as close as 18-15 is huge. Huge decision there, and that's come off the back of a really poor decision from a linesman. So I have every sympathy with him on that respect, and the Salford fans.
I mean, mate. I mean, look at this. This is a knock on. It's not even up for debate. This is a knock on.
I think the only thing they're saying there is it's come off the Salford lad's head.
Doesn't matter.
The head's not a knock on.
No, but that's if it's your player. So if this bounces off a Saints head, not a knock on. That's losing control of the ball. That's lost control of the ball. That ball's got to go backward. He's lost control of that ball. It's at the head of the Salford player, and it's then gone forward. It's a knock on. But that entire passage of play, from the foot on the line to the 10 minutes in the sin bin to the try that was given for Lees, Matty Lees in the team of the week. Are you having an absolute giggle? I don't know if you saw me ranting on In the Sheds, but again, if that's the same committee who's going to judge Man of Steel, God help us. I mean, Matty Lees was in the team of the week. Can somebody tell me why?
No, absolutely bonkers. And I'm sure you'll do it in the team of the week for Super League Raw.
Well, he's not. Here's a spoiler for you. He's not in my team of the week. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But like I say, Saints. No ill feeling for the Saints. You can only beat what's in front of you. They're a champion team. They play to the whistle. Wellesby's unplayable at the moment. Absolutely unplayable at the moment.
Well, that's it.
Sneed, he got 3 goal for. Sneedy got 2. Matty Lees got the 1. But just take you off that for a second, just to crystallise, just for a minute, why I'm saying what I am about. And this is where, again, when the Man of Steel comes out, we've got to look over it with a fine tooth comb, because how some of these decisions are made, I don't know. But this is so right. Matty Lees made 105 metres in this game. Okay, above him was Neverett, Dupree, Mago, Ellis, Mulhern, and Amona. Matty Lees got his try, but so did Mago and Amona. In terms of tackles, he made 22 tackles in this game, did Matty Lees. Okay. Above him was, how long's my arm here? Dudson, Satai, Lazzoni, Navarrete, Vaughan, Holroyd, Delaney, Massa, Ikahifo, Partington, Staunton, Greenwood, Amone, Philbin, Iden, and Mulhern. All of them tackle more.
What I don't get with that one, though, is when there's obviously the Sam Tompkins factor, which has obviously been mentioned numerous times. There's no agenda for get Matty Lees something. So for me, it's just incompetence as journalism.
No, it's bonkers, mate. It's absolutely bonkers.
Something you said before, Dave.
Anyway,
laziness. It's like Morgan Knowles all over, isn't it?
Well, do you know what? It makes you wonder. Did he give the odd point bonkers like that because they don't want other people to win it? I don't know. Call me cynical.
Yeah, I suppose that's the other cynical.
Call me cynical.
Yeah.
For a minute. Because, like I say, there's absolutely no way that he should have got that award. I mean, I'm looking at this. I mean, let me just do this, and I'll start that in a minute. Just take myself back a second. Right, that's what I want. Right, let me just get that one back playing again, so you can walk us through it, Steph. In terms of St. Helens, right? Who were more? I mean, St. Helens on the day. I tell you who had a good game. Young Davis at centre. Young Davis at centre had a good game for Saints in that one. He had a good game. Percival, decent with a boot. Makinson had a solid game. It just wasn't Matty Lees. I mean, Mark Sneed. I think Sneedy did get the 2 though. Briley. You mentioned Briley. Briley would have probably been a better shout for that 1 point than Matty Lees. It's just anyway. Brodie Croft was probably more deserving of the point than
100% more undeserving. Yeah.
I mean, well done to. I mean, look, people think that. But look, Saints are a champion team, right? They've had 4 years of me patting them on the back. But when I see injustice, I'll call it out. I don't care whose badge it is.
Absolutely.
That is just not right. It's just not right what happened at Salford on Sunday.
No.
This game wasn't a classic Steph, nowhere near. But you'd be happy to get out of there with 2 points, I would have thought, and no injuries.
Oh, I absolutely made up. You know, you could have forgiven the league team to go there and, you know, ease off. But I mean, everybody knows he's played rugby. As soon as you ease off, you get injured. So they had to go in there and play. And I thought, you know, in the first half especially, I think we defended back-to-back sets actually against them and held them off. And we took our opportunities when we could against a decent lead side. And I think the biggest thing for me is we are big on stats this season, and the amount of records that we've broken is just phenomenal. As Mike Latham, the ex-chairman of League, loves to remind everybody. But I think it was 39 years since we last won at Headingley, which is insane, you know, in terms of statistics. But we did enough. We did enough to win it, and that was the main thing.
How did Lazzoni not get a ban for that? Well,
it used to be a red, didn't it?
Well,
Tripping.
How that's not been seen by the committee, I don't know. Another big bonus for you this side of the final was O'Donnell. 117 metres for 14 carries, 5 tackle busts, 33 tackles in the game. Kai O'Donnell, as well, and Shane Wright, of course, somebody else who signed an extended contract at Salford. I thought Wright and O'Donnell early in the season were two of the standout second rows in the comp. O'Donnell back for that final. I think that's a massive bonus for you, that.
Oh, it's absolutely huge. And, you know, just watch out for him in that final. I think I'll not give away our things what I've said to you, Dave, but just watch out for Kai O'Donnell in that final.
Yeah. But no, look, great win. Cam Smith again, superb for Leeds, even in defeat once again. But yes, Lee, cement that third place 20. I know what you're saying about mathematically, mate, but nah, you're playing playoff rugby league. You can't not. For me, I just can't see it. And I can't see
just on the lead stuff though, mate. Jared O'Connor, what a game he had, and what a player he's going to be. I can see him being a Great Britain 9 or an England 9, whatever we do. I think he's, you know, it's always awkward when his dad's commentating on Sky with it, but I think he's an absolutely outstanding player, and you know, he's a bit like Roby. You know, when Roby started off. I see a bit of him in that, and I think he's going to be a very good player going forward, Roby.
I think the thing for me, guys, where Jared O'Connor's concerned, I think the departure of Lehman has probably done him a world of good in the fact that he's had to play the amount of minutes he's had to play, and they've had to give him his head because it was the only option that he had. And I think in terms of his development, that has been a godsend for the lad. Absolute godsend for him.
Yes, absolutely.
Massively. That's what happened with us, with a few of our players. I think it was 2021 to 22 season. And look how Ollie Russell's come through now. He's
quality player, mate.
Quality player.
Yeah. Quality player, Paul. Yeah, you're far better with him than without him. 3 for Ben Reynolds. That was nice to see. Ben Reynolds picking up 3. Albert Goldthorpe. He's a bit of an unsung hero. Ben Reynolds. He's had apart from Magic weekend when he wasn't Magic, he's had a good season. 2 for Jack Hughes and 1 for James Bentley. Where's he going to turn up next season, James Bentley? That's going to be interesting.
I'm amazed with that one. You know, you call him out, Dave. I think Ipape was definitely in there.
Ipape should have been in there.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Mullen,
Amon. You know,
it is bonkers. It is bonkers.
This could come back to the bit where you're saying that they're trying to not get players in it because
I don't know, mate.
They're all lead players, pretty much, that you said there, and I don't agree with them.
No, you're right. No, again, no, mate, you're right. If you look at, Kyle O'Donnell, you look at with the naked eye watching the game, and then after the game, when you look at the stats. So after I've watched the 80 minutes, I'll have a look at the stats, and from there make the judgment. You know, especially when I'm doing team of the week and things like that, I take everything into consideration. And you're spot on. You know, with Pape try and assist, what he did. You know, Kai O'Donnell first game back, really good shift from him. Gareth O'Brien steady as a rock again at fullback. You know, you're absolutely right, and you look at that and you're like, odd. Anyway, there you go, boys. Here it is, and all of a sudden, it's not stopped the season now. It's not restarting the season now, is it? I missed the Huddersfield Giant down there because Huddersfield, they're coming. They are coming. They're very much in it. I think. Oh, actually, that's a good point. Actually, that's a good point. We'll need to get hold of Reggie. We'll do it like I'm gonna have to call this live because we haven't done prediction for that little game that's been chucked in. So I will put that out on the fans forum tomorrow. I'll put it on the fans cup, but we do, and there's a game it's at your place, isn't it, Joe?
No, it's at Saints.
Joe?
No, it's at Totally.
So it's at Saints. It's at the Totally Wicked. So Saints against Huddersfield. I'm going to go Huddersfield. I'm going to call it now. I'm going to give you my prediction now. I think Huddersfield are going to win this, and I'm going to go Huddersfield 9-17. That's my prediction. You can start for the fans forum, boys. Steph, what are you going?
I've got to back me bro Joe Lanner here and Freddie. So I think it'll be tight. I think it's going to be potentially a drop goal, golden point potentially. But I'll go 1-8 Huddersfield.
Super Joel, you're going to back him, are you?
I am, and I'm going to go 9-17.
Fans forum, you guys that are watching, get it in there. Get it in there. What's your thoughts on that game on Sunday? Should be a belter. Saints against Huddersfield, the game that will get this league table looking a little bit more complete. I think Huddersfield Giants could do this. I think they could do it. I think they could be on 20 points come the end of the weekend. That's where we are. Right, okay. We're going to do two a week, and then we're going to have a quick chat about the Challenge Cup, and then we're going to be wrapping up. Believe it or not, boys, that's an hour and a half that's flown by. Right. Who'd have thought that? We know predictions, but hey, we've had lots to talk about. We've had a bit of fun, haven't we? Right, here it comes.